all three of you have mentioned tannins. What are tannins, and how can you taste them?
That's a great question.
Tannins aren't a flavor. We can't taste tannins, but what tannins are they're present in the skins of grapes and in oak barrels. And what happens is these tannins they bind with proteins. And when you're not having anything to eat with a wine, these tannins will bind with the proteins in your gums and your saliva, and it'll give you a grippy feeling, like your cheeks will stick to your gums. That's why when you have a high tannin wine like Cabernet Sauvignon, you want to have something with a good amount of protein and fat to it, so that the tannins then bind with whatever you're eating and not you, which usually gives you a little bit more of a nicer drinking experience. But some people really like the big, massive tannin. They like to feel their wine. They like the texture of them. I like them to be in balance. Too heavy tannins just can be exhausting when you're drinking.
I mean, if you ever had like a steak or something, for a cab, it's going to be something. It's just going to go pair with it so well. Whereas something like this, it's going to be a little bit more delicate. I'm thinking stuff like for me, it's screaming like mushrooms. Something a little more. Hell, give me some foie gras. Just something that's going to be a little bit more delicate. It's going to pair with it differently. It's not going to be so brawny. The tannins are going to be the ones that's going to be punching in the face.
That's right, because actually, interestingly, mushrooms are a very tannic food. So in fact, they're matching very well with each other, correct? Chef?
But
Hardly.
Now that we mentioned tannin is a very essential element to wine, especially red wine. When you talk about it, I mean, the advantages of tannin is just so it can add to the balance of the wine, but also you need tannins to be present in wine to be able to age well. Definitely. So, Michael, you want to explain a little bit more on how tannin can help a wine age?
Goodness.
I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. So what happens? We're getting back to this whole wine is a complex soup of chemicals, which is very unromantic. But what happens is, as wine ages, these tannins will then bind. They'll kind of bind together with other chemicals and then dissolve out, precipitate out. So that's why when you see older wines, you'll see this kind of crust on the bottom, or maybe you get the last glass out of the bottle and you get the little chunky crystals. Those are all basically precipitates that were tannins once upon a time. So as oxygen starts to dissolve in the wine, as the wine ages, these tannins start to fall out and essentially they're protecting the wine from oxidizing too quickly. So it's kind of a nice defense mechanism for red wines, which is why, loosely speaking, red wines that have more tannins tend to age better in the long term. Again, generalization. That's why white wines tend not to age as well. There are some amazing white wines that age beautifully, and there are some low tannin red wines such as Pinot Noir that age really well because of things like acidity or sugar or other dissolved solids.